Welcome to True and Unpolished. Through this podcast, our intention is to uplift, amuse, and inspire you to create more of a life you'll love. Let's get authentic, everybody. Okay, y'all. This is quite an episode. We welcome back Jim Dukes, who is an artist, a healer. He's the executive director of the Charlotte Art League. He's a veteran, and frankly, he is one of the most interesting people I've ever come across. And things get a little spicy in this episode. So much so that at one point I turned beet red. So that being said, might not want to listen to this one with kiddos around, but I promise you'll enjoy. Take a listen. Well, hey, everybody. We've got a returning guest with us today, and I'm going to let Mary introduce him. Take it away, Mary.
Well, today we have my dear friend, Jim Dukes, and Jim came and talked with us before. He is the executive director of the Charlotte Art League, and he and I both have a passion for healing through arts, and that's how we met many years ago. And so he has worked with veterans and also other people of varying ages and backgrounds, and like I said, now is the director of the Charlotte Arts League. So welcome, Jim.
Hey, it's good to be here again.
Well, today we're talking about creativity, mental health, and the pandemic, and
Right.
Thought you would have a really good perspective, not just because of your own background, personal background, but because also of your work with other people in the healing arts. So what we wanted to hear is a true moment related to that topic. What do you have for us?
Okay, so I have an amazing moment that started with a Facebook message. And about a year ago, I received a Facebook message from a female, has to remain anonymous.
Okay.
Let's call her Orange. And
Orange.
so Orange Facebook messaged me, and she said, "Are you the Jimmy Dukes that I dated in high school?" And I said, "Yeah, I am." And she said, "Okay, well, I am currently serving in the military. And when I get out, I'd like to get into healing art programs for veterans." And I Googled that, and your name was everywhere. So,
oh, wow.
Turns out she was at a training school for the military. She is an extremely high-ranking officer. And when I knew her, art was a passion of hers, but I did not think military was in her future. And so,
Wow.
So now...
well, did she start late or?
Yes, she quit. She was an art teacher. And
Okay.
then after 9/11, she joined the military.
Oh.
And so she's had several amazing jobs, 4 tours in Iraq and Afghanistan. And so she was in another state doing this intensive training, but it was during COVID, and everybody was locked down in their apartments and were not allowed to go on base or socialize or go to restaurants or anything. And she's a very active person. So we talked, and she was sliding downhill emotionally. And so because the way active duty military is set up, it can be dangerous to go to seek mental health.
Yeah.
And so what we decided to do was to do a remote art challenge. So we did we Facebook messaged every day, and her depression was becoming increasingly debilitating.
Yes.
But yet she had to fake it and couldn't admit to anybody that there was a problem, because she would lose her status, and it
Right.
would be a mark on your jacket, whatever. So every week we did a different art challenge. So I would come up with a word, and and then she would come up with a word, and then we would take a week and create a different art piece. And then at the end of the week, we would do a little show and tell. And I got her artwork is amazing. She's going to have a museum full of her own artwork.
Cool.
But after doing this for months and months and months, she finally, and getting her some help and getting her some medication through the our creation of art, it gave her hope again, and the conversation, and removing the isolation. And she turned the corner and came out of it, and got graduated from her training school, and now is back at her duty station, and is loving life. So she's back in the studio, she's making art, she's being creative again, and
That's so amazing.
Full of hope and inspiration again, and has purpose, and is very close to retirement, and is looking to be able to travel and learn more about art, and just improve her craft and expressiveness and all of those things.
How did you come up with that? Is that a practice that you did with your work with veterans before, or?
Yes. So I've done that with some veterans before remotely that cannot seek treatment
right
in the mainstream. So we work on little projects like this, or we'll do. I designed a journal that you can make, right? And it's made out of paper bags and paper. And the paper bags are folded in half, and you can put,
like grocery bags. What kind of paper bags?
Like your little sandwich bags.
Okay.
And you fold it in half, and you can slip pieces of paper in there in the folds of the paper of the lunch bags, and then you hole punch the ends and you tie it together and decorate it, whatever. But I'm trying to get some of my military friends to get used to journaling. This journal is sized so that it will fit in the outside pocket of your BDUs, your pants, your uniform pants, and nobody has to know about it. So you got a pen in there in your journal, and I'm like, when you go to the head, instead of getting on your cell phone and checking messages, you're in private, get your journal out and just journal. And then when you're done, nobody knows you're in the stall journaling. You just put it back in your pants pocket and go on with your day. And the way that it's made, you could take little inspirations or slips of paper or things that you find and slide it into the open end of the bags. And then we talk about it. And
so cool.
That is so cool. Do you have instructions that we can share?
I don't have any pre-made instructions, but
okay. Well, maybe you and I could come up with some. I mean, maybe we could talk later, and I could come up with something that you could share with your people.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
So that the first course that I have is Create More 4-Step Foundation for Art as Inner Work. The main art experiential is altar bookmaking, and so there's different exercises throughout the book that you engage in, as far as writing a new story, telling a new story, and transforming your story, transforming your life. So I think the power of that, writing and books And in this case, the altar book is so transformative.
Mm-hmm.
Can I tell all the lay people among us what you mean? Because the altered book making, like for the lay people out there, I'm gonna give my version of what I think it is, Mary, and then you correct me.
Okay.
But it's you pick a book.
That's a fun game.
I know. We play it every day. So there's so you get a book and then you rip out pages from it, you write stuff in it, like you're just and like part of you is like cringes because it feels like, oh no, I'm desecrating this book, but it's all about making a new story,
right? And creating a piece of art out of something that has been discarded.
Yes. Yeah.
So, but it's not just writing, it's also, tearing out pages and adding paint and, drawing and collage and whatever you can imagine.
Yeah, it's so cool. And after the first little bit, you get over the fact that you've just desecrated a book.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Have you done altar book making, Jim?
I have no, but I've done that with some of my photography. I've taken bigger prints that I've done. I think it was called the Universal Congress of Man and Woman, and I took a big print of a pink orchid, and then it was then the second print was a big building, blue. Sky, hard building lines and everything. That's male. And then I just took it and ripped them into pieces. And that was really hard to do. And then I took the backing of a picture frame, where it slides in. And then I just dropped one piece from the pink side and one piece from the blue side, and wherever they fell, I glued them down, and so it just became this universally guided congress of man and woman.
That is cool.
Wow.
So I think now we have all these great ideas about ways that people can use different art forms to work on, transforming your life, feeling better. The other thing that I think Jim and I are both passionate about is mental health. And so I wonder if you have anything that you can share with us, unpolished, from your own life, or perhaps from just your work, in the arts and in mental health, if you have an unpolished moment that you could share with us at all.
An unpolished moment. Yes, I tried a new photography technique so some of my photography is boudoir and beyond. And so I had a client, and she was in
Jim's always pushing the boundaries.
I love it.
I don't have boundaries.
That which is not a step one in my foundation course, more is motivation to break the rules.
Yeah,
Jim's always breaking the rules.
No rules. And so we were doing this photo shoot in this hotel, and I was going to paint her body. And
boudoir. Okay, I've come late to the party, but here I am. Okay, here we go. Yes.
So this was at the end of the shoot, and so she had been through several extremely abusive relationships to the point of, where she had a child kicked to death in her belly. And so that was the level of trauma she had endured. And so she wanted to do this shoot as reclaiming her identity and her confidence and so on. So I made the last minute decision to not paint her, but to let her stand in the shower naked and paint her own colorful war paint on her body
Oh, cool. Yeah.
without looking at herself in a mirror.
Right.
Just taking different colors and putting them all over her and doing her own tribal war paint to reclaim herself. And the looks that she would give, and just the cathartic experience of what she created without even looking at herself, just channeling her visions of Africa and her ancestors and her spiritual energy. It was beautiful. And then at the end, she showered it all off, and I got photos of the whole cleansing process. And afterwards, she was just emotionally drained.
Well, I think that is, I mean, another transformation, but also such a healing gift to give somebody. And I think, at the same time, what a vulnerable thing for her to be willing to do for her own healing. And I think that is the most important thing. I think that's one of the things that you shared with us before is your own vulnerability. And, and then you mentioned the first time you decided to use art as a tool for healing was after you saw veterans, on stage sharing their vulnerable experience through art. And so I think, that is the key, is being willing to show up and do it. So that being said, being willing to do it imperfectly, do it in an unpolished sort of way,
And it's just, I mean, I am completely astounded and amazed at the ideas that come to you. Like, they are clearly inspired. Like, you are definitely tapping into something. And I, the only way I relate to it is when I give a talk. These ideas that you have are so inspired. Like, I just want you to sit and tell me all the different ideas you've done.
He couldn't.
I mean, it's amazing
because there are so many. That I was gonna mention that earlier.
Well,
I want to hear. I think we've already heard several, but how do you do that?
Right. What's the process?
That's a important question.
Well,
because if we can tap into that ability, which I think Lydia and I would both agree that it's in all of us. How do you tap into that? What's?
Well, I think it's connecting to people on a personal level and developing trust and confidence and making people feel safe. And I don't know how to teach people to do that. It's just something that you just know how to do. And it's not like this subject. She and I have talked for months and months before doing the shoot. So we knew each other, and it wasn't a strange thing. But I did a shoot for a couple last two Valentine's. No, it was last Valentine's. And I know him and I know her. And she wanted to make a book for him because he's away a lot on business. And they're both veterans. And so I did a photo shoot with her masturbating. And
wow.
I took pictures.
I know.
Lydia's just in shock over there.
I am just in shock. I love it.
You asked for raw. I'm going to give you raw.
Yeah, do it. Yeah.
So we did this shoot, and where knowing that it was going to be a gift for him, it was I think there weren't any exposed parts except for one or two nipples, but that was it. And then the rest were just pieces and angles and so there were no toys involved. It was just, her hand. And then I was able to capture her face in profile right as she
Oh my God.
as she was going through climax. And it was just like sparks, and like all the veins in her neck and her face and her head were popping out. And it was just, it was amazing. And to capture that moment on film. And then she took all the images and put it together in a book for him as a Valentine's surprise. And he emailed me. He said, "This is the best thing I've ever received," and was just totally thrilled. There's no intimacy between she and I that just defeats the rules of what I do. But there's a complete and total trust there that I will respect the space that she's in, and respect her as a woman. And we're knowing that we're creating and capturing something that is unique and beautiful, and probably isn't captured in a non-pornographic way.
Right. Exactly.
Right? So,
yeah. That is so true, because that's all you see is,
right.
It done or faked,
Well, this is real.
Yeah. You were there.
Yeah.
I
if that isn't motivation to break the rules,
oh, sorry.
I don't know what is. So.
What rules, Mary?
There are no rules. Well, I mean, what I teach is that you have to know the rules in order to break them safely and effectively, and that's true in art, as well as life. You do have to know what they are. So,
and boundaries.
I bet you are invited to dinner parties all the time. Like I see, like
I don't.
Really? Like if I lived near you, like you'd be coming over every Friday so I could hear about your week.
I don't have friends.
What? That doesn't make any sense. You're like
so
sympathetic.
Weird. It's so weird. I don't know.
Do you
I wrote a poem. Yeah, but I wrote an interesting poem about it. But yeah, it's I don't know what it is. Maybe it's my job. Maybe it's my energy. I don't know. Maybe it's just that people want things from me to help them through their life, as opposed to wanting me around socially. I don't know.
It's not reciprocal.
Right. Yeah. I give a tremendous amount, and that is not, it's appreciated and absorbed. And
I get that, because you can't, I was serving as, the equivalent of a minister in a New Thought spiritual community. And so my role was to help and assist, but right away that it doesn't lend itself to reciprocal connection. Like what I was told is, okay, here's how it goes. They call you when they go to the hospital in the middle of the night, but you don't call them when you go to the hospital in the middle of the night. So I can completely relate to that. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that, we
need to work on that.
Yeah, you just that.
So the last part of what we do is create more. So you just said what you want to create more of, and that's like what this last piece of the episode is about, is what I'm doing to own my ability to create more in my life. Like it's on me to do that. And I think one of the themes for today is being willing to step outside of our comfort zone and be vulnerable. Mm-hmm. In particular with, everything that's happened with the pandemic, I think it's really important to be willing to do that. I'll tell y'all what I am doing. I already told both of you, but I'm going to tell you again. So I last Friday, I was like, I want to go to this place. It's called Sal's Old Timey Feed or Seed and Feed. And it's just a little local place. And it's on a farm, and they sell some produce from their farm. And that their main thing is plants and seeds, I think. But I'd heard about it and never been. And so I was going to go this past weekend. Well, when I went to the website, I found out they weren't open, but they had a job posted for 4 hours a week. And as you know, this is something I'm passionate about, is learning about. I want to have a retreat center, and I want to have like sustainable foods and on the property. And so I'm, in these years right now, I'm preparing by learning and educating myself. And so I said, well, call right now, because if you don't, then you're going to not do it. And so I did. And she was like, well, come on Tuesday, and I'll, do an interview and see if you're going to be a good fit. And I mean, as soon as I walked up, I had the job. It was very synchronistic, and so kind of out of line of what I'm trying to do in my work, but at the same time, perfectly in sync with what I'm trying to do with my life.
Jim, I feel like I want you to say a certain create more. Can I impose a create more on Jim, or does he get to pick his own?
There's no rules, right?
There's no rules. You said no boundaries. Okay, good. And
I think he did say something about boundaries.
I don't have boundaries, but I respect other people's boundaries.
Yeah, that's so good. And you know what? So I've been doing these ads, like Facebook ads and Instagram ads for True and Unpolished, and putting on these ads like an example, like this is what True is, this is what Unpolished is, and you totally embody like every single one of them. There's like 20 of them. So that is interesting. That was just a side note I just realized. And I think that it is a crying shame that you do not have reciprocal friendships, because you put so much out, so much love and giving out into the world, that you deserve to get that back. So I want us to create more reciprocal friends for you. How do you feel about that?
That's fine.
You're open to it?
Sure.
Okay. So just like you have to tap into something and get your ideas, I'm going to tap into how we might do this. And maybe we'll have weekly exercises.
Okay.
Like you did with her. I love it.
Okay.
I love it.
Yeah.
So I can remove this statement from my life. I am profoundly lonely.
Oh,
yes.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think this is good, because now what we're going to do is we're going to come up with a challenge.
Yes.
And then we're going to go through it together.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're going to come back, and that's what the episode's going to be about.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Next time we have you on.
Yeah.
I'll do that.
And the episode's totally secondary, because primary reason is that, project reciprocal relationship.
Yes,
Okay.
Absolutely.
Yes. Okay, good. All right. So Mary and I are going to sit with it and figure out all this out, and we'll have another Zoom where we won't record, and we'll figure it out. Are you saying we should figure it out right now, Mary?
No, I think we gotta plan. We gotta figure it out. And if anybody has ideas for us, then we are open to ideas and suggestions.
Somebody listening right now wants to be your friend. I bet everybody listening right now wants to be your friend.
I think the first thing is I need to shave the horn off my forehead.
No.
I'm saying that because this isn't visual. This is
right.
auditory. So
Are you a unicorn?
No, actually, I did. I have a poem that I wrote called "The Trauma Monster," and it's about how I see myself. And if you remember the Muppets, right, from way back in the day, I see myself as one of the big Muppet monsters, where like the people were in the suits walking around. And given my life experiences and trauma, that's how I think people perceive me, as this Muppet monster, where they can see all the ugly that's on the outside of me. All those things that I've been through, and all that is on the outside, which makes me ugly and unapproachable.
I think that in my experience, the opposite of true. It is our scars, it is our wounds that make us beautiful, that make us attractive. And that it's those things that make people trust you in the way that they do, because it is attractive. And I hear, the story. And I think part of it is, doing an altered book and creating a new story around that. Yeah.
Okay.
I love it. I love that you are up for anything. And see, that's what I'm saying.
He really is.
I love it. It's awesome. It's awesome.
Yeah, I'm good. Let's do it.
Okay. We'll think of a name for it too. A good, like, fun project name. Okay. So everybody, if you have ideas, you can let us know. And if you would like Jim's phone number, just message us. I'm teasing. We will post it on our Facebook and Instagram page. This has been so much fun, and I'm so glad we did this. I don't feel like I got to know you the same way in the last episode. So I'm really grateful for this time, and thank you for just being so open and available. And
sure, always.
Yeah, wonderful. You have been listening to True and Unpolished, the podcast. Let's see what happens next.